Scott Pilgrim Anime is the best clickbait show. The show's trailer showcases numerous identical scenes from the movie and comic, leading viewers to believe that it closely aligns with them. However, that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, for several episodes, Scott Pilgrim is barely even present in the show. This anime-styled series takes a completely different approach to the movie and comics by presenting an entirely new story. Now, the crucial question is, what are the changes, and do they pay off? In the beginning, it starts off all familiar, with Scott meeting Ramona, falling head over heels for her and trying to impress her with a fancy movie delivery. Sweet, right? But here's where things take a detour. Ramona's ex, Matthew Patel, crashes the party, and instead of Scott win this fight. But this time, Matthew comes out victorious, seemingly killing Scott. Yeah, you heard me right. Scott Pilgrim loses. And just like that, we're on a roller coaster ride unlike anything we've seen before. Scott Pilgrim takes off, puts the spotlight on Ramona rather than our beloved Scott. She's reluctantly dragged back into the world of her exes, all while trying to uncover the mystery behind Scott's sudden disappearance. Sure, the show delivers the zany action sequences and over-the-top exaggeration we've come to love, but it does something more. It delves deeper into the characters who were often left in the shadows. Take Roxy Richter, for example, the sole female evil ex. Ramona used to dismiss her as just a phase. Well, this time, they confront each other, and Ramona starts reflecting on her own role as an evil ex in Roxy's story. By focusing on Ramona and putting Scott on the back burner, Scott Pilgrim takes off, critically re-examines the foundation it was built on nearly 20 years ago with the first book. Love is hard. And it's only natural that even if we cared for someone at one point, we might start to resent them when things end. There are exceptions, of course, but more often than not, the people who hurt us and the people we hurt in kind aren't malicious. They're flawed people, just like us trying to figure it all out. While the anime is all about unpacking the narrative baggage Scott Pilgrim has carried all these years, the characters remain as emotionally and psychologically complex as ever. Their thorny interpersonal dynamics are still core to the story. They just manifest in new, really effective and subversive ways. Subversion is the basis of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, after all. Even as Ramona is making things right with the people she's wronged and who have wronged her, that same demonizing of one's old flames is still foundational to the story. And the show's late-season twists are some of the best realizations of everything it seeks to explore. I won't spoil them here, but suffice it to say that this show also takes time to make up for the film's shortcomings instead of repeating them. I've spent a lot of time talking about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off's subversive elements because that's where it excels. But the show also still presents a delectable recreation of the series' best elements in this new framing. It's gorgeously animated and colorful, with some excellent choreography to its over-the-top fights. The writing is just as sharp, witty, and full of pop culture references, but doesn't feel so beholden to that tone that it's just constantly winking at the camera. The show brings the kind of laugh-out-loud, absurdist humor that made the original's gags so memorable, but doesn't feel like it's just playing the hits. That refreshing newness is well married with its comfortable familiarity and comes from its knowing subversion of what we've come to expect. And thankfully, the new material gives the voice cast a lot to work with. Characters who barely interact in the books or movie get whole arcs together, and it's all so fresh, it retroactively makes the thought of a faithful adaptation less exciting. But with all that newness comes trepidation. At first blush, I'm not thrilled that Scott Pilgrim Takes Off ends on a cliffhanger. Getting invested in anything Netflix does is just setting yourself up for pain, because the streaming service cancels shows like I Delete Tweets that don't pop off. An animated Scott Pilgrim series that brought back the entire movie cast seemed too good to be true when it was announced. And now that it seems Netflix is entertaining a second season, any unabashed glee I have toward this show feels like it's on shakier ground. There's a lot to love about Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. The series offers a different spin on a classic story and breathes new life into this wonderful world. It boasts an A-list voice cast with fluid animation and showcases how whimsical this world is with its use of colors. Yet it manages to underserve its titular character and leave Scott in a place where you question whether this entire journey was pointless. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off is an enjoyable watch, and fans of the original will surely appreciate all the terrific nods, Easter eggs, and twists that will undoubtedly enhance their enjoyment. While the ending is a major flaw, the series as a whole is still worth your time, mostly due to its wonderful art and performances.